Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time to learn about executive digital footprinting. I'll start by saying the title is a little bit misleading. It is not just for executives, it's really for anyone that wants to know what's out there for them, their family, or anyone else. So I appreciate everybody taking the time. There is one more housekeeping slide here. This is our sort of ominous disclaimer saying that my opinions do not reflect those of the firm. With that being said, let's get right into executive digital footprinting. So years ago, we had a number of customers come to us and said, hey, we have some basic and general concerns from a personal or professional level. Is there anything you guys can do to help us figure out what is out there for us? And a lot of the questions that we would hear from these customers, potential customers, are here on the screen. So this is a bit of a shameless plug, but if you're interested in executive digital footprinting, if you've ever asked yourself any of these questions, this might be for you. So questions being, have you ever wondered what your children, spouse, or family members were up to on the web? Are you concerned about what personal data is being sold on the dark web? Undoubtedly, if you're listening to this and you're in the United States, your personal information has been stolen and is on the dark web. Do you have any concerns about an employee or a potential employee? Are you worried about what people can find out about you based on simple web searches? So again, we had a number of people come to us, ask us those questions, and so we came up with this executive digital footprinting service offering. Again, title's probably not great because it can be for anyone. It doesn't have to be an executive. So what is it? It is essentially, we look at two areas. We look at the open web. The web as you know it, and we do that through open source intelligence gathering. That is the OSINT acronym. There's no test at the end, so you don't need to know that. But basically what OSINT is, it's the practice of collecting and analyzing publicly accessible information to produce intelligence. And the other side of it's the dark web. So most people don't play on the dark web. We do, based on our service offering. So we're on the dark web and we look for things like your stolen credentials and other things, because we'll get into in a minute why that's important to you as well as to the bad guys. But so essentially we look at the web and the dark web, and what we do is we come up with a report and we collect the information and we manually put it together, analyze it, and come up with some reporting that we hope is valuable to the organization that's paying us to do this work. So what do? We look at your social media posts. We look at your social media footprint. What systems and applications and social media do you have access to? What's there from an ID and password perspective, especially when we start looking at the dark web. So many of us don't realize that our data has been stolen. It's being traded on the dark web, and a lot of times we don't even know where it comes from. Periodically, you'll get a letter in the mail from an organization saying that your data has been exposed, and they ask you if you should take them up on the free monitoring of your credit score. I always take them up on that because I don't know where my data is lost or how it's been lost or what quantity of my data has been lost. But I can tell you this, I've been on the dark web before. I've attempted to purchase my own credentials, my own personal information, as well as my children's. And it keeps showing up there over and over and over again. So leads me to believe that there's a lot of breaches out there that are not being published. So as it pertains to the executive digital footprinting, we look at all these areas. We go through 65 or 70 different social media platforms. We capture the information, we digest the information, and we put it into a report that we, again, hope provides value. So one of the questions we always get is, what does the report look like? Well, the report is very unique based on the person. I personally have no social media outside of basically LinkedIn, and that's because my marketing manager, Kathleen, who's probably on this call, makes me have that for work. But other than that, I have no footprint. We've had customers come to us and ask us to go find what's out there for them or their family. A lot of times, we'll find information that is a bit alarming to a parent. Other times, we won't find much at all. And I can tell you, our reports range from 50 to 75 pages down to 5 or 6. And I'll tell you, the people that are most pleased with what we find are the people that don't have anything out there. That means we can't find anything. So basically, when we do a executive digital footprinting exercise, we ask for anchors. Anchors are cell phone number, email address, social security, home phone. The more anchors that you give us, the more data that we can find on you, and the more confident that we feel that when we find something, it's actually you and not a false positive. So the anchors are critical to this, and we'll see in just a minute when we start talking about real world examples how we got to where we got to. So the examples, sorry about that. The examples I'm going to give you, I've changed the names of the people, where they work, the type of work they do, because I don't want people to figure out who I'm talking about. But the very first example that I'm going to walk through is we had a gentleman, works for a large company. He's the CEO. He was looking to invest in a startup company that made a product that is tested on animals. So he came to us a couple of years back and said, hey, I got this weird letter in the mail, snail mail. It said, I know where you live. I know what you do. I don't appreciate what you're doing, testing this on animals. How would you like somebody to do that to you? Something along those lines, right? And so he said, hey, Charlie, can you see what's out there for me and my family? And again, we got the anchors from him, cell phone, social security number, date of birth, address, everything that we could get from not only him, but his family. And so we found a couple of very interesting things. We started with his kids. His kids were a senior in high school and a junior in high school. So I believe around 17 and 18, both of them. We went through the son's social media first. We found out that he was on about 35 different platforms. And we found some very interesting things that were sort of comedic to me because it's not my own child. If it was, I would be pretty upset. But the first thing we found was his son driving down the expressway going 140 miles an hour in his mom's Mercedes, smoking a bong. His friend had recorded it, posted it to social media. Parents had no idea. So we presented that to the client. Undoubtedly, they were interested in it. The other thing that we found that was of interest in this scenario was they had recently purchased their home. And I mean by recently, within the last 2 years. And so there was a nice video of their house online. We went through that, and one of our eagle-eyed security specialists noticed what looked like either a brake glass or a motion sensor in the back of the house. The back of the house faced the woods. And so we found that, reached out to the customer, and we asked, hey, what is this, motion sensor or is it a brake glass? Turned out it was a brake glass, which wasn't probably the best idea. But at that point, we asked him, well, do you have any sensors on your windows in the back? He said, no. Okay. So we continued our assessment of the family. And what we ended up determining was that on Saturday mornings from 11:30 to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, January through March, almost no one was in that house. And the reason we were able to determine that is we started to aggregate other data that we found. So we looked up his wife's social media accounts, and we found that she loved this Pilates class. It was 30 minutes away. It started at noon on Saturdays. So again, we figured she was gone by 11:30. Son played basketball. The daughter was a cheerleader. Would also go to the Pilates class with the mom, and the dad traveled a lot. So we went back to him and go, hey, from 11:30 to about 2 on Saturdays, it looks like nobody's home. That's when I would break into your house. I'd go to the back. I, open the window. I would get in. And by the way, because of the fact that your home video is online, I can see, the layout of your house, and I can probably figure out where to hide or where to try to look for either personally valuable information or personally valuable things or anything really. So he was fairly surprised by that. And again, as I said earlier in this presentation, we give you actionable steps. So we reached back out to him and said, hey, reach out to Nothnagel, let's say, ask to have that video taken down, talk to your security company and have them modify the settings in your home, get something on those windows so that when they're open, either alarms, or get rid of the break glass and make it a motion sensor. So again, we try to give actionable items. When it came to his son, didn't have a lot of actionable items other than, why don't you have that kid take that down? Because we would hate to have him not get a job in the future because of a posting that he made when he was in high school. So again, we try to give actionable items to people. The second example I have here is there are some personal concerns. So unfortunately, again, this isn't just executives. It's for anybody that wants to know what's going on with their family, their spouse, or others. We had an incident a couple of years ago where an individual reached out to us and said, hey, I'd like you to do it for my entire family. And so couldn't find much on the family, but what we could find is that someone in the house was associated with an adult website that had been breached. So it was an adult dating website that they had accessed. Because of the way the breach occurred, the data that was dumped on the dark web included the source IP, it included the number of times the individual had logged on, the communication. One thing it did not have was pictures, which was fine, but it gave us enough information where the researchers on my team could go back and figure out where that came from. So when you get a source IP, there's an IP on your router. Traditionally, it's your home. So we were able to trace the source IP back to that individual's home. We finished up our investigation and we provided the report. And the gentleman said, hey, can you just provide it to my wife? He very nicely said, I think you should take a look at this first since you paid us to do this and you signed our contract. Gentleman looked at it, initially hemmed and hawed over it. When we presented him with the fact that we could determine that it came from his home, we could also see a credit card associated with it. He decided to not have that cascaded to the entire family. So it's not always a fun story. It's not always a funny story. There's definitely stories, but we find what we find, and we present what we have, and there's no way to getting around it. So that was a prime example of not our proudest day doing that work, but the individual wanted us to see what was there. We found it, and we moved on. And the last example I have is an example, and really it's the rationale for why we're talking about this today. Over the past year and a half, there was a tremendous amount of people reach out to us to have us do this work. Right? And this work could be family-based, it could be executive-based, it could be a future employee that you want to hire, you want to see if they've said or done anything that would make your brand be hurt if you hired them. So a lot of people reach out to us based on board members now in C-suite. And the reason for that is that Luigi Mangione issue from last year where he shot the United healthcare executive in the back while he was walking down the street in New York City. This has had a lot of people sort of raise their hands and say, I'm a little concerned about this. The CEO, not by his own sort of fault, he posted a lot on social media about what he was doing, where he would be. So it wasn't hard for people to find him. So again, that's sort of the crux of this, right? It's figure out what people are up to, including potential employees and whatnot, figure out what's out there. And so we did. And so we had an organization reach out to us, said, hey, our board is really worried about this. Can you start looking into what's out there for that? And, just in general terms, the customer that reached out to us, they're in energy. And so, naturally, those that are in the energy space are sort of tied to and can be tied to concerns relative to the environment and protecting the environment. So we did an investigation a couple months back whereby we found a couple people on the board of this organization had an entire website created to mocking them and chastising them, including caricatures of them. Personal information was posted on that website, addresses, pictures of their home, everything, and said, hey, if you see this person, feel free to do what you want. Very non-committal, but also threatening. And so we found that information. We provided that to the customer. Obviously, they were pretty concerned about it. So again, we look at a lot of different things. We find a lot of different things. But again, sometimes we don't find anything. And that can be a good thing. So as I said at the beginning of this presentation, the people who have been happiest with what we've done and what we've found are the people that don't have anything out there about them. So the last example I have here, social media post. There was an organization very similar to ours that was looking to hire a very specialized individual to do some work in the compliance space. And they reached out to us and said, hey, we did a background search, found some stuff here and there, but the gentleman made some sort of interesting remarks during the interview. We'd like you to look into whether or not that's consistent with anything he's doing on social media. Sure enough, we found a social media handle. We found some very disturbing posts where he was threatening other people, threatening people that were in the public space. And so we provided that to the customer and let them do what they wanted to do with it at that point. So yeah, the moral of the story here is, if you don't know what your kids are up to, this is a service that you can figure it out. It's not for everybody. There are some basic queries and things that you can do on your own. We use proprietary tools, years of experience to get to where we need to be. But again, knowing what your children or your family or potential employees are up to is obviously critical, not only to your well-being, but your brand. So we offer this to those organizations that want to be able to sleep better at night. But the reality is, for the most part, outside of the dark web searches, some of this stuff you can do on your own. You just need to know things like, hey, what tools could I use? Well, there's things like Google Dorking you can use. There's Spokeo, there's Intellis, there's Multigo. Services that you can pay for, you can buy the tools, you can run these scans on your own. There's other things that you can't do, though, like the dark web, right? So we go out to the dark web, and the reason why we go out to the dark web and we look for credentials is that a lot of people, including myself, tend to recycle their password. And so if you've got your personal email, you might have the same password for Amazon or personal email or Twitter or any of the social media that you leverage. From time to time, we will do quick searches for people who are concerned, like, hey, my social media was hacked. We hear that all the time. My social media was hacked. And then we go on the dark web. We see, hey, here's 5 different spots where your password was taken. Oh, by the way, the password's the same in all 5 spots. Right? So maybe you should start changing your passwords going forward, start using multi-factor authentication, things of that nature. So again, those things are all actionable items that we include in our reports. So again, this is more of a service that is very niche and is for people that are concerned about the things that I've talked about. But the reality is there are some things that you can do. And at the end of this presentation, I'd be more than happy to send out that list of software solutions that I just went over with you. Those are tools that we use to supplement the work that we do in order to ensure that we have the most robust information to provide the most content to our customer and also provide the most value. So that being said, I wanted to spend a little bit or leave a little bit of time in case people had questions for me. Again, no reports look the same. No findings are going to be the same. It's very niche. It's very unique. It's got great stories and interesting stories to it. Some of the stories over the years I've tried to water down. I just can't without disclosing, too much information about people. And I will say this, we do get professional athletes and famous people that have come to us that have asked us to do this. We generally pass on those because it could take weeks or months to get through everything that we could find on the web. And I'll just give you one example, and this is not a real world scenario, but if somebody came to us and said, hey, we want you to see what's out there from Mike Tomlin. I'm an enormous Steelers fan. Mike Tomlin's been the coach for 20 close to 20 years. If you asked me to go find what's out there negative about Mike Tomlin that people could use to, to threaten him or worth using to threaten him, it would take us months to get through. I saw a demonstration on this service years ago, which is why we stood this service up, and they went through and they used Paris Hilton as an example. Paris Hilton's phone had been hacked. A bunch of other things had been hacked on her. There's a whole bunch of stuff on the dark web. You could literally find every medication she ever took, every address of any place she ever stayed. So the more you post on social media, the more you have out there on the web. It is hard to get rid of. It is easy to find. And getting easier, the more tools that pop up to do this type of work. And again, I'll give you those tools at the end of this. We'll send it out in an email blast at the end in case you guys want to do this research on your own or just see what's out there for yourself. So with that being said, we've got about 7, 8, 9 minutes left. Wanted to see if there are any questions. Darren, is there anything out there? Because I got this in screen sharing mode.
No questions in the chat right now.
Perfect. So again, that's it in a nutshell. If there's anything that you need or any questions that you think about after this, feel free to reach out. And again, I'll send over the websites and the software that we use. And if you want to use it and play around with it, please do so. If you find anything interesting, you want to talk for 5 minutes, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it, see what's out there, see if it's false positive, anything. We like doing this work. It's, like I said, it's interesting. It's fun work. It gets us away from sort of the minutia of doing audits and some of the other stuff that we do. So again, I appreciate everybody's time. If there are no questions, I'll give everybody 7 minutes back.
Charlie, I did one question.
Yeah.
Wondering if the info on the iPhone saying a password is compromised is legit.
It is. Yep. So they'll go out and look at the dark web. There's dark web websites and databases that just pull from the dark web. If your information is in there, it'll update to your phone. We tested this out years ago because a lot of people don't even know that that's there. So we tested this out years ago with my own breach credentials and whatnot, and they were 100% right on all of them, as well as some of our staff. So yes, follow those things. And as I said, sort of in passing a few minutes ago, if you can use multi-factor, use it for everything. The amount of times I've had customers call me on vacation, hey, I'm in the Bahamas or I'm in here or there. Somebody's gone onto my account and it's legit. It's not the phishing BS text you get, saying, you've been hacked. It was legit. They're in there looking at their account statements saying it, like somebody got in. Use multi-factor authentication. It only takes another 10, 15, 20 seconds. It is the best thing to do for everything that you have, and never give out your personal information. My neighbor recently got hit with a very similar attack as The Beekeeper. I guess the movie. Somebody, sent her a text saying, hey, your account's, your PayPal account has been charged $150. She didn't even have a PayPal account. Long story short, she calls these guys up. Within a couple of minutes, they're walking her through how to set up online banking. She never had before. She gives them the code. They get in there. They quote unquote refund her the $150. And then the guy goes, oh my God. I accidentally refunded $15,000. I can't get it back. My boss is going to fire me. I've got kids. Tells a whole sob story. My neighbor, retired lady, very sweet woman, goes, oh, don't worry about it. How do I help you? And she helps them withdraw the $15,000. Calls the bank up the next day. It realizes that she's been scammed and she's out of the money. So don't fall for scams. If it looks fishy, it probably is. If you ever have questions regarding something you got, again, feel free to reach out. I'll take your call, 30 seconds to a minute to tell you you're in good shape. Don't worry about it. I'm more than happy to talk to you. Any other questions, Darren? Are we done?
We have one more regarding the resources that you mentioned. If you could speak more about Google Dorking.
Yeah, Google Dorking is a little above my pay grade. I don't do the work, my guys do. But Google Dorking allows you to get more targeted Google search queries and more targeted and refined information back than a simple Google search. So if you Google Dorking. You'll see how to do it. There's tutorials on it, on how to do it. It took up our folks a little bit of time to refine those searches and figure out exactly how to get the best results back. But again, if you got a question and it's a pressing issue, I'd be more than happy to hook you up with one of my guys. Again, talk about what you've done, maybe how you refine the searches. But Google Dorking is something that people don't realize is out there. A lot of people have probably seen Spoke Yo and Tellius in Multigo. But Google Dorking is one that a lot of people don't know that it exists. So, and again, for a more in-depth conversation about that, feel free to reach out. My guys will take any amount of time you want, 5-10 minutes.
And that is it for the questions in the chat, Charlie.
All right, 4 minutes back. Again, appreciate everybody's time. Again, and I keep saying it over and over. Please feel free to reach out if you got any other questions or want to talk about anything. Other than that, have a great rest of your day and appreciate you guys taking the time to join us.